The program for children's diabetes has been running for about 30 years in Perth now, and we currently look after every child with type 1 diabetes under 16 in the state of Western Australia, which is a very large state. So we look after just over 1,000 children with type 1 diabetes. And given the novelty of the large state, we actually run clinics both here in Perth, but we also visit 12 country or rural and remote sites with our multidisciplinary team to deliver the diabetes services, to try and make sure the kids in the country get the same services that kids in the metropolitan area. It's a multidisciplinary service, so our patients see doctors, nurses, psychologists, dietitians, social workers, diabetes educators of course when they come to clinic.
One of the important aspects of our diabetes program here is that we include research. So we think that research and good clinical care go hand in hand, so we integrate them together. So we have the researchers in the clinic with the clinicians as well. Most children with type 1 diabetes don't achieve anywhere near the goals we want them to achieve that we know will prevent the long-term complications. We need to help them manage their day-to-day blood glucose levels, giving the insulin, problems around food and exercise, and what happens when they get stressed. But we need to know more about what different foods do to blood glucose levels, so that's one big aspect of our research at the moment. We need to know what happens with different types of exercise and how to prevent the blood sugar going too low, which is dangerous when you have diabetes. We are using technologies to do this, but technologies have to go hand in hand with knowledge and putting it into practice.
I like the new technologies of the pumps and sensors and how they provide really updated data and really nice new formats of software and stuff. It's really intuitive and helps you interact and deal with your disease better than the old systems. It's so much easier when you can just sort of pick up your pump and go, oh, that's my level, okay, I can manage it from there without having to stop.
So I'm one of 4 dietitians who work here at Princess Margaret within the diabetes department. In this role at diagnosis, we meet families and we provide them with the information and support that they need in order to manage their diet and their lifestyle in the context of diabetes. The research that I'm currently involved in is looking at improving the way that we calculate an insulin dose for meals. Currently, international guidelines just look at the carbohydrate content of a meal, but we're looking at the impact that both protein and fat have on the insulin requirements. Ultimately, I suppose the goal is to optimise the food intake with the energy expenditure and the insulin requirements in order to optimise growth, development and glycemic control.
We work together with educationalists that are addressing school issues, psychologists and psychiatrists looking at mental health issues, health economists, because the translation of anything we do into policy and practice, it's really important that we have an understanding of the health economic impact there. We also work with exercise physiologists, dietitians, experts in the area of research technology.
When you exercise and you have type 1 diabetes, what you try to do, in the ideal words, to keep your sugar within normal range as much as possible. But everyone with type 1 diabetes will tell you that, in fact, when they exercise, their fear is that their sugar will decrease. And the reason being is the sugar is one of the fuel used by the muscle. So the challenge is to prevent that without having to cause massive surge in glucose, for example, that could occur if they eat too much. So what we've been doing over the past few years, in fact, for quite a while, is trying to find strategy to help to keep that glucose within that range. And there's still a lot of questions that I answer because we're still not quite there. So that's what, in our view, is probably one of the big questions when it comes to the management of glucose and prevention, in the management of diabetes.
Well, health economics is really important as a critical link between the development of best clinical practice and translating into policy. Our job is really to understand at both an individual level and at a systems level what the impact of, say, the technology will have on the diabetic population, and then to understand what the total impact will be on the entire population.
Consumers can help in the research process not only by bringing their lived experience to the table, but by offering a different perspective. So when you have people from different life experiences all looking at a problem, everybody brings their own perspective, and sometimes when you look at a problem from a different angle, it brings different solutions and ideas. As the parent of a child with type 1 diabetes, the first thing that comes to mind is a cure. Type 1 affects not just the child, it affects the whole family. So for me, innovations that help with the day-to-day management of type 1 are critical. Is my child going to sleep through the night and wake up in the morning? Things that help us deal with diabetes as our child goes through the different stages of her development. So how does she play sport safely? How does she cope with the effect that stress has on her blood sugar levels and exams?
It's a very exciting time to be researching and managing diabetes, because improvements are happening all the time. But I think one of the major breakthroughs recently has been the ability to monitor glucose levels continuously and the potential that has for applying that to the artificial pancreas.